Hey everyone, Dave here. Welcome to a new Raid Shadow Legends video. In this video, I'm re-recording my skills and passives videos that I've removed earlier, correcting the parts that I've got wrong. So I recorded the parts that I've got wrong, but I kept the other good parts because there's some good ones from the older video, and I'll just merge the two while I'm editing. That's why you'll see me wearing summer clothes now because it's getting hot in Texas, while in the other one we had the cold wave, so you'll see me wearing something different. So let's start talking about passives here. What's happening with passives? I'll explain how passives work and how the turn order might affect them. Generally speaking, passives are or affect all of the team when they are used regardless of position. So if we check, for example, my Duchess, and that's why she's one of the strongest champs in the game, you'll see that her passive decreases the damage everyone is taking on the team from AoE skills. If we go check Python, his passive is a bit similar, but it's based on how many buffs you have on the team. So if you pair both of them together, Python and Duchess, now the team is taking like half the damage it should take. If we check another champ like Ultimate Death Knight, he also has something similar here. He actually has two passives, so yeah, completely blocking one hit. That's for one hit. And then, oh yeah, no, that passive is not relevant for what we talk about. So if you pair those three, Duchess, Ultimate Death Knight, and Python, especially Ultimate Death Knight and Python. Python was a fusion, Ultimate Death Knight was a freebie that they're giving us as a login event. You have a very solid arena defense. Even if you're stuck somewhere in PvE, having both of these, decreasing the damage taken by the team, and giving your weaker champs a chance to hit back and beat that stage or Doom Tower hard level or whatever. So passives, like I said, are generally protect the whole team or affect the whole team depending on how the passive works. But there are an exception where the turn order, which I speak about in the second, like the other next to that in the video, where turn order will make a difference. And let me show you how. Whenever an allied attack has a 100% chance of completely blocking the hit, decreasing incoming damage to zero. Basically, he's protecting the ally. But something that we should know about damage, whether it's PvE or PvP, but it's more relevant to arena or PvP, that even for an AoE hit, like if you're using, I don't know, Hiji, a Baron, Skull Crown, whatever the enemy is using to do an AoE hit against the whole team, the damage happens in order. So the champ in position first, in the first position, gets hit first, and then second, third, and fourth. If it's arena, it's only four. So what that means is that if Ultimate Death Knight is in a higher position than the champs they are protecting, and they get killed first by the hit, unless he's in Stone Skin, of course, then the second champ won't be protected. Same for Necrit here. Like Necrit's passive, whenever an ally is attacked while under ally protection, so he's also protecting the others. So for champs like Ultimate Death Knight and Necrit, you want them like further down in the turn order. So you want your nuker to, let's say, in second place, and you want your Necrits and your Ultimate Death Knights in third or fourth place. Fourth place is better because now they are protecting everyone because the hit will get to them last. So if you have Ultimate Death Knight and Arena team, put them in the fourth position. Necrit can be third or fourth depending on where your nuker is. Important thing is that they come after your nuker in the turn order. Same passive also. I don't know why. Probably it's allergy. My nose is itchy. But here, Seeker got this passive, which is not used that much, but it's good. Heal the champ, increase defense on all allies when the hit with a critical hit. So you want to put Seeker in front of your other champs. And let's say you probably want to use him for Aura, So you have him in the second position. So when he's hit, he puts increased defense on the other weaker champs before the hit reaches them. So that's specific passives that are related to something happening when either the champ himself is attacked or something that happens for an ally when he's attacked, like Nukrit and Ultimate Death Knight. You want to like pay attention to which order the champ is in. Just to make it simpler, for passives affecting the whole team with no criteria there, it's not related to a hit. You just put them, or the Duchess one, turn order doesn't matter. For passive like Seeker should be higher in the turn order before the other champs he's trying to protect with increased defense. Ultimate Death Knight and Necrit, they should be lower in the turn order. They should be after the champs they are trying to protect. So the champs will get protected while Necrit and Ultimate Death Knight, even if they die from that hit, that will happen after the protection happens. So they're giving you that slight chance that your nuker will remain alive and maybe can hit back and finish the job. So that's something that I wanted to say about passives and how they work. Let's go see how the turn order works actually. So position wise, this is in any team order 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll try to put in the screen while I'm talking. How do you know what the sequence is? You just put a champ in, 1, you put the next one in, 2, third one, 3, and then fourth one, 4. As simple as this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go out there and talk about skills now. Certain things about skills that I want to show you. For example, one of the few that comes to mind right now, Ignatius. Why I'm showing you Ignatius? Because he's one of few champs that got this text next to his HP burn or whatever debuff that he's doing there. This debuff cannot be resisted. What does this mean? Any debuff that doesn't have that text in it, which is almost all of them except a few champs that got this one, like that provoke or whatever, if it doesn't have this, it means that it's based in accuracy. So if this champ got a certain level of accuracy, let's see how much he has here, 134, I'm not using him for that, but anyway, he has 154 accuracy. So if he's trying to apply the provoke or whatever skill on the opposing champ, if they have less resistance than this, like if they have 140 resistance, then I have a good chance of like applying this debuff. The bigger the difference, there is a cap there is an equation, but if I have 200 and they have 150 resistance, I should be fine. That's why we're saying, for example, that for the clan boss resistance, you need 250, 260 accuracy for Ultra Nightmare. If we have that text in those few champs, like for example, Rhonda, she doesn't need accuracy at all, and the same thing for Ignatius here. If we go check Rhonda, she secret order, banner lord. She is a banner lord, yep. And if you see here, like this one, cannot be resisted. So you don't need to build any accuracy on this champ, and they have a 100% chance of applying whatever debuff that's mentioned here. The only exception is that if the opposing champ got block debuffs. Block debuffs like this one, block debuffs. If this champ has block debuffs, you cannot land the debuff on them. If they don't have this one, 100% chance of placing it. How is that different? Like I said, it doesn't go through the accuracy resistance check. And even with the accuracy resistance check, you have a few other factors affecting the skills. So for example here, this is a hit, attacks one enemy. Anything that starts with attack means that we have the accuracy resistance check. The accuracy needs to be higher than the opponent's resistance. And you have the affinity playing a factor here. So Sepulcher is force affinity. That means that she's weak against spirit, green affinity, and strong against blue, which is magic affinity. For spirit, which is she's weak against the green affinity, she has a 30% chance of placing a weak hit, and if she plays the weak hit, she won't land the debuff. So that's why, for example, Madame Sears is so strong, because she's void. She doesn't weak hit against anyone. What's even better, this is not a hit. So if you see here, place like Dracomorph, here it removes all the buffs. She doesn't do any hits. So even if she has an affinity, uh, she will land it anyway. So maybe that's why it's not a good example. Let's go check, for example, Mordecai. Mordecai's HP burns place. It's not a hit. So that means he doesn't go through the check of weak against strong affinity. He will place it anyway, assuming he has enough accuracy. So that's the difference in the skills part. How unresistible work and how weak hits work. So one of the comments that I got in on the previous video is that unresistible debuffs like Ignatius or Rhonda don't get will get affected by weak hit. To be honest, I'm not seeing this at all. Let me show you what I mean here. The example that the guy was saying is Hydra, like Nightmare. My champs are no way near. Like Ignatius got, my Ignatius I think got like 150 accuracy. So let's see that. So we have two force champs. Ignatius is weak against force because he's a magic champ, he's blue. So let me just speed him up a bit. And then I'm using his unresistible HP burn. So you see here, like it didn't place it on that hit, but it placed it on force. So Hydra, I'd say that Hydra is not a good example because Hydra got some funky mechanics to it. Let's go to Doom Tower Hard. Again, he doesn't have, he's in no way got enough accuracy to apply this. I want some waves, maybe with fourth champs. Okay, so we have Yushi here. Let's try the same. Okay, and let's do this. So again, I want to show how unresistible works. You see, forget about Hydra. Ignatius 150, he shouldn't be able to debuff them, and everyone got the burns there. So, how the buffs work? I think that the first check goes against like weak or strong hit if it's a hit, if it's not a place. Second one goes against accuracy versus resistance. Unresistible ignores all of that. So the only situation where it won't land is block the buffs or stone skin. Other than that, unresistible will be placed. So that part is the part that I wanted to explain or to correct about the buffs and how they work. For skills, you have two type of skills. The generic one, which needs accuracy. You need more accuracy than the opponent's resistance to place that debuff. And then you go through the weak versus strong affinity. Magic, the blue affinity, is strong against spirit, the green one. Green one is strong against red. Red is strong against blue. It's like a circle. You see it here. Yeah, that's it. So this is what it's strong against. So first you go through weak or strong hit. If there's 30% chance of a weak hit, depending on the affinity, you won't land that debuff. Then the accuracy resistant check. For those few champs, like Ignatius for HP burns, or Rhonda for her block active and passive skills, if it has in the word cannot be resisted, then it doesn't go through that check. You don't need any accuracy at all on these champs, just that the opponent champ shouldn't have stone skin or block debuffs. Last point is that if the debuff like Mordecai or Draco's weaken and decrease defense, if it has place, if it doesn't have the word attack in the skill, that means it skips the check for weak strong affinity and it's depending only on the accuracy and resistance check. One last point that I want to mention about the passives. Passives don't get affected. They get affected by Ronda's skill to block passive skills, which is very rare in game. Probably it's only Ramantu and Rondas that has that skill. Anyone else, if you're facing, like, let's say a warlord, and he uses his A3, or if you're facing Basher, Basher is a skinwalker. What am I thinking? Or Basher, who has more or less the same, sorry, this one, but for by 2 turns, or Yumiko, of course, that does not affect passive skills. So if you're building an arena team and you're going against a warlord or Basher or Yumiko, it's good to bring someone with a strong passive like Duchess, Python, Ultimate Death Knight, because those passives won't get affected by the cooldown. Passives, except for passives where it's mentioned that it's on cooldown, like uh, let's go into Marishka's passive because it's so strong. It has a 3-turn cooldown. If it doesn't have a cooldown here, like Duchess passive doesn't have a cooldown. Uh, so it's active all the time. So that's why it doesn't get affected by the cooldowns. Even with passives with cooldowns, it's only get affected when it gets used. It doesn't get affected by Warlord, Yumiko, or Basher. So that's a very important point in building teams. The same, for example, in facing the Eternal Dragon in Doom Tower. Uh, he puts that he has the same skill like Warlord or whatever, putting your activity on cooldown. That won't affect the passive skills. That's why it's go check my Eternal Dragon video. I brought Vrask, I brought Vogath, I brought all of these champs because they are all depending on passive skills and they cannot be put on cooldown. Now we're done with the corrected version of the passives and skills video. I'm editing and releasing it. Please, if you find anything inaccurate, mention it in the comments below. I really appreciate the guys who did correct me on the previous one because I want the information out there to be as accurate as possible on the channel. I hope you enjoyed this one and I'll see you in the next one.